Hi, my name is Kate. I'm Dylan's mom, and today I'm going to show you how I make sourdough bread. Sourdough bread is special because it's made with a living creature that we have to give food to and make sure that it has lots of warmth and and then it'll grow and it'll be a happy little organism. So, how you make sourdough is first you start with a sourdough starter. Sourdough starter is kind of funny looking. See it in there? It is kind of goopy and it smells almost kind of like beer, if you've ever smelled beer. It's a strong smell. And what we need to do, because it's morning time right now and it kind of takes a long time, there's a lot of waiting, is that we need to feed it to make sure that it knows today's bread day. We're gonna make bread. So what we have here is the sourdough's food. This is a measuring cup filled with flour. This is the flour I used. It's special bread flour. And we're gonna use 1 cup of flour, and we're gonna use a little bit of water too, because it's thirsty. You guys have food and water every day, right? And so does the sourdough. So what I do is I put the water, we've got to pour it very carefully right in here. Okay. And then we pour in the flour. That screaming is my daughter Alice. She screams a lot. And then we're gonna use a spoon and we're gonna stir it up, okay? There it goes, and we stir, 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 stir. And then we just let it sit for a while. And the sourdough will eat up all that flour and water and start making bubbles. And when it's made lots of bubbles, that's when we know that it's ready to be made into bread. We put the top on, and then we wait. Okay, well, we've waited several hours, and now it's time to check and see how our, oh, look at, you see all of those bubbles? And it's gotten bigger too. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's growing. There's even bubbles way down in the bottom there. That means that our yeast, which is what is the thing in sourdough starter. Oh, that one just popped. That was cool. That one, that it's happy. So now we have to do a little experiment. We're going to use a spoon and get a little spoonful. Oh, you see how it's kind of globby? Uh-huh. And we're going to put it in a glass of water. Like this. There's our glass of water. And we just let it go bloop in there. Oh, good. That means it's ready because it's floating. You see it floating right at the top of the water? That means it's very happy. If it sunk to the bottom, that would mean that it needed more time. All right. So now we can get started. Okay, so now it's time to make our bread dough now that the starter is all happy. So this is the fun part where we get to do some putting it all into a bowl and mixing it up. So this is what we need. We have our big green bowl and we have our ingredients. There's flour, water, starter, and salt. So I like to add the water first, like that. And then here comes 1 cup of starter. Oh, it's very globby. And it sits right in there in the water. All right, that's pretty good. And I'm gonna give that a little stir. Oh, isn't that weird? It's such an odd texture. And that will kind of get all happy, and it's kind of warm water, which the yeast likes. There we go. And now we're gonna add the flour. And this is like feeding the yeast a giant hamburger sandwich. More food than it could ever eat. That looks pretty good. Good. See, it's starting to get kind of like a shaggy dough ball. And then last, we are going to add 1 tablespoon. You see it says 1 tablespoon of salt. We love salt. Salt is important. And then we are going to stir that all together. Okay. The lighting is not great, but here we are. I just gave it a little bit more of a stir, and now I'm gonna use my special tool. This is a dough scraper, and it's thin and curved on one side, and so it fits right in the bowl, and you can kind of mush it around like that. And this is pretty happy the way it is. And now it's time to wait. I'm gonna just cover this up with a little towel, and then we're gonna wait a whole hour, and then we'll stir it again, and we'll see what it looks like. Let's look at it one last time. It looks it's a little bit soft, but you can see it's kind of a little, I don't know how to describe it. We'll see what it looks like in an hour. Okay. About an hour, so I'm gonna see how we're doing. Doesn't look a whole lot different. Maybe a little bit. I'm gonna use my special scraper. Oh yeah, it has a different texture. Here it is. I'm gonna use my scraper, and you can kind of make it go blue and fold it over. Like that. And maybe one more time. We'll fold it over. We can even use our hands and kind of go squish. Kind of like Play-Doh, really wet Play-Doh. You can kind of squish it apart and then fold it in half, and then squish it apart and fold it in. It's not very, it's not like taffy quite yet, but it's getting there. It's better. So now I'm gonna plop it back in the bowl, plop, and put my plastic wrap back on it. And guess what? I'm gonna have to wait another hour. Yeah, this takes a while. Okay, well, it's been over an hour at this point. Oh, and look at how much different it looks. It's very smooth and oh, it's sticky. It's gotten very sticky. That's good. Good, okay. So what we need to do now is that we're gonna scoop it out of the bowl. Scoop it out of the bowl with our special bread scraper. And I'm gonna plop it right on the counter. Let's see. Plop. There we go. Oh, it's quite different now, see? It's almost like full of air. Wow. It's so squishy. Squish, squish, squish. And what we want to do is kind of make it into the shape of bread, because it's time for this little dough ball to go to bed for the night. Even I'm going to bed. I'm in my pajamas. We've been making bread all day. Well, kind of just waiting all day. It's gonna spend the night in the fridge where it's kind of cold, and that's what gives it that yummy sourdough taste, is that it has lots of time to just kind of hang out. So I'm just kind of folding this and shaping it and getting it into a little ball. It's kind of sticky. It's sticking to my hands. Okay, that looks kind of like bread, right? Yeah. And I have this special bowl. This bowl is made out of wicker or wood. It's kind of, it's like a wicker chair if you've ever seen one. And inside, it has flour so that the dough doesn't stick to it. Because that would be sad if in the morning your dough was all stuck to the bowl and you couldn't get it out. So we're gonna put the dough ball right in here. I'll show you. Yeah. Sorry. So our nice little dough ball here. It's pretty small, but we're not making a giant loaf. And we'll just plop it right in there. Like that. And then it goes in its bag. I have a giant Ziploc. Have you ever seen a Ziploc bag that big? Holy moly. And then it just slides right in there. And then I'm gonna take it and put it right into the fridge. And it'll stay in the fridge tonight. And in the morning, oh, my fridge is very full. And then in the morning, we'll see how big it's gotten. Right now it's pretty small. Good night, dough. Good luck. Good morning. The bread has woken up from being in the fridge all night. Let's see how it did. Here we go. Bring it out of its bag. Oh, well, it hasn't risen a lot, but a little bit. And so now we just need to play with it a little bit more and pop it in the oven. So, let's see. Say hi, Alice. All right. So I'm going to take it out of the bowl, and you can kind of just let it fall out. Bonk. See? And let's see how it's doing. Oh, it's very cold, and it's a little bit harder now because it's cold. It's let's see. Ooh, and it made a really cool design. That's the bottom of the bowl. Left a swirly mark right there on the bread. That's kind of cool. So I think that we can kind of just leave it like it is and just set it on the paper. And then you have to use a very sharp knife. Look at that knife. Oh, that's just for mamas. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the bread so that when it gets bigger, it doesn't just explode. So it's like putting little vents. There's 1, 2, 3. Make that one a little deeper. There. Okay. And now we're gonna put it in the oven. I have a special pan in my oven already. It's all hot. And it's been sitting in the oven for a little while. And there it is in the oven. And then I'm gonna put the lid on. Oh, I've got my big hot pad. Look at my giant hot pad. I kept on burning my arm, and so I got a bigger hot pad, and now I don't burn my arms. I'm reaching in the oven. There we go. Oh, it's gonna like that. It's gonna warm right up. And this is gonna be pretty hot for a half hour. And then we'll take the lid off and see how it's doing. I think maybe a little bit. Not so hot. I'm gonna make it 400. You see the numbers there? That's how hot the oven is. And that is our timer. And that's what time it is right now. Oh, there we go. And then I say start. So we don't want it to burn. Okay, we'll see you in a half hour. Okay. Did you see the timer? It's all done. Hot pad back on. And let's see how our bread did. Here, ooh, it's hot in here. Slide it out. Take the top off. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, it still has a ways to go though. Now it's gonna get nice and brown on top because I took the lid off. All right, we'll set the timer for another 15 minutes. And we'll make it not quite so hot. So now it's a 3, 6, well now it's a 6, 0. And our timer's going right there. All right, we'll see what it looks like in 15. Okay, it's about, there it goes. Let's check and see how our bread is doing. It says it's done. Okay. Ooh, look at how pretty it is. It's all brown. Oh, let's see. Ooh, that looks good. And we kind of, oh, it's nice and, oh. And what you do to make sure that it's done is a funny thing. You know what you do? You lift it up and you act like you're knocking on a door. You know what that sounds right? It's like, that's what it should sound like. Ready? That means it's done. So I set it on this special cooling rack. And when it's totally cooled off, we will get to use a bread knife and we'll put butter on it and then we'll give it a try. See you when it's cool. Okay, it's time to eat the bread. Here it is. Oh, it looks so yummy. And I'm gonna put some butter on it. I've got my very special super sharp knife. Oh, this is a knife for just adults. Go back and forth. Good thick crust, which is a good sign. Come on, Neil. Oh, it's kind of loud.
I'm gonna eat it.
You are? Do you want butter on it?
Yeah.
Here, can you see how you're... No butter? How does it taste, Dylan? Is that good?
Yeah.
Delicious.